Hello and welcome, I'm Drew Hales, and this is a new review series I got on my gaming channel. This is called Speedrunning Reviews, where I talk about games or review games in a speedrunning perspective. Today is a game that not a lot of people speedrun, but it's still, I like it a lot, that's why I'm reviewing it. It is Crash Bandicoot: The Wrath of Cortex. And I really like the game a lot, and I'm just going to get over some stuff right now. So the rating system for the rating system for this is out of 10 points, and there are 3 ratings: good, passable, and bad. And the different things I'm reviewing in this order are what doesn't get a review. It's just talking about the game. I'm not going to give you a rating for that. But what does get ratings: 2 points for good, 1 point for passable, and 0 points for bad. So the first one is talking about the controls. The controls are very important, so they need to be talked about. Next is about speedrunning movements, like how you move in the game is different than doing a casual run. Time it takes to run. If it takes too long, I could give it a bad rating if I don't like that it takes that long. The next is the actual time speedrunning, which means all the loading screens will not count. Like all the loading screens, that's a lot of time wasted not speedrunning. So I'll be accounting for all that. If there's a lot of loading times, a lot of times you're just looking at text boxes and loading screens, I will deduct points from that and give it a bad rating or a passable. And last is speedrunning difficulty curve, which is how much harder is it to play this game while speedrunning than while playing it normally. So I'll go through all that. So starting the review now. Thanks for viewing the intro. I'll start right now. So starting off, you get the loading screen, and not the loading screen, the title. It's Crash the Wrath of Cortex, and starting on the first level, you're greeted by a snow level, which is just a regular snow level, and it's you just playing as Crash, not with any vehicles or anything. And you can see the way you walk, or the way you speedrun it in here. I'll be talking more about how you do that later. And you can see the overall design and quality of the levels. Sorry, but I used OBS to record, and OBS makes the quality of my capture a little bit lower, so sorry about that. But besides that, you can see the game and everything pretty well, and it plays pretty good. I like it. The graphics are pretty good for the PlayStation 2, but yeah, it's overall pretty good. And this is just one of many types of levels. This is another type where you're in an airplane or some flying vehicle. There's multiple flying vehicles, but they all do the same type of thing, except for one where you have to lock on to boats, but that's basically the same thing. So in this level, you're just shooting turbines or something similar to that to get rid of all the things. And yeah, the next type of level is a ball level, where you roll in the ball and do other things, which is alright. So enough talking about the game, let's just get into speedrunning, because I think that would be a lot easier to explain everything. So the controls for the main levels are as followed. You move the stick in whatever direction you're walking, and you press R1 as fast as possible, or whatever console you have. Whatever console you have's slide button. I call it butt sliding, but you call it whatever you want. It's just you sliding it as fast as possible. That gives you the most speed in this game. It gets very tiring after a while, so it's not the best for long term. And for water levels, for when you're just swimming, I rapidly press X because that gives you the fastest, but you have to be careful of what's up ahead. And you might have to use square to spin boxes and spin other stuff away. So I use X for, it's X to just, you have to tap it as fast as possible. Now for when you're in the actual vehicle underwater, X shoots in front, no, X shoots down, and square shoots in front of you. And I just rapidly press them both at once to hit everything. It's a lot of rapidly pressing. And for when you're in the hamster ball, you just move, you just move the stick around, and you just move the stick around, and that's all it's to it. So that's it. So for the controls of this game, as I've already stated, but I'm going to show you in the video, this is the butt sliding I call it, or just the sliding, where you can see it's just the slide animation rapidly going and going and going. It just makes it, you go the fastest, and these are one of the sections of the video where I'm going to rate it, as I already explained before. This is the control section. This also ties in with the speedrunning movement. So I'll talk more about the speedrunning movement, which is what the controls are, in a sec. But as you can tell, just butt sliding, it's very easy. You just press what I told you, and that's it. Now for the ball levels, they're even easier. All you do is control the stick in what direction you want to go in, and it will go that way. For flying levels, you control the stick to move it, and the fire button, and then just hold the fire button and it starts firing. And the other one where you have to rapidly tap buttons is the water levels. While you're swimming, you just rapidly tap the swim button, and while you're in the boat or the submarine, you rapidly tap the shooting projectiles forward and shooting bombs on the ground or beneath you. You can rapidly tap those at the same time, so you can always get the things in front of you or back of you and below you. So as you can see, it works pretty well, and it's definitely much faster than doing it normally. So that's what I'm talking about with speed running movement. That is, speedrunning movement is moving differently than you would in a casual game or casual speed play of it. Like some games, speedrunning it is the same movement as casually playing through it, but with this, it's not. So for the controls, I give it a passable. They're too tedious to be good, but they are not the worst, and they do work when you press them most of the time, unlike a terrible game, which would not work most of the time or all the time. And that, so I give that a passable. It's okay. It gets a point, not 2. It's not great. It's just too tedious to be great. So with the speedrunning movement, it is good. It is something different than just doing the same movements as a casual play. So that gets a good for that, because it is different than casually playing through it. Like some games, like I'm going to be reviewing Flappy Golf, which is a game based on Super Stickman Golf by the same developers, but with a flapping golf ball. And that movement is the same as if you casually played through it. So I would give it like a passable or just a bad for not being any faster. So next we'll be on to the times it takes to run. I'll explain all of that. How long it takes to speedrun any percent, 100%. 106% is this game. And I'll explain how you get those percentages and all of that. So, for how long it takes to speed run this game, For any percent, which is just playing the game as fast as possible, not going any secret routes, secret anything, not getting all the anythings, just getting through the levels as fast as possible and collecting the crystals, which is all you need to beat the game. The fastest time known is 1 hour 5 minutes and 2 seconds. My time's like in 3 hours, but I have a lot to improve. I die a lot. And for 106%, which means you do all the time trials, all the gems, all the crystals, secret warp room, which gives you more gems, and that is about, the fastest time is 3:12:51, and both of the fastest times were on Xbox 360, not PlayStation 2 or GameCube, because both those times have slower loading times. Now, here's a clip of the slow loading speeds on a PlayStation 2. You save, if for 106% run, you save about 30 minutes or so with an Xbox over a PlayStation 2 because of how long the loading times are and how much shorter they are on the Xbox 360. So here's a clip of how slow they are. So that was around 30 seconds, and it was pretty long for a loading time, and that happens every time you enter a level and every time you exit a level, so that adds up over time. So that's a lot of time just wasted on loading screens. We will get back to that in a sec for actual time speedrunning and not speedrunning, so we'll get back to that in a sec. But for time to taking for speedrunning, for any percent, it's pretty reasonable. 105:02 for the shortest time. I give it a passable because... No, I don't give it a passable. I give it a good because it's not too long. Like some games, I would give it bad, like Super Mario Galaxy 2, because it's just way too long to play and not a lot of people have time to take time to speedrun that consistently to get better at it. And so it leaves a lot to improve in those games. But this is a pretty short time. 3 hours for 106 is not terrible. There's a lot of other games for full completion of games that take a lot longer. So I do give a good to this. It is good. It does not take that long, but you will take longer if you do use a PS2. It will take a lot longer. The best PS2 time is 3:47:34 compared to the best 360 time or Xbox time, 3:12:51. That's like around 30-minute increase of time. That's how long the loading screens take, which is obviously pretty terrible. And so anyone who has a PS2 like I do is at a disadvantage while playing. But still, for time, I still give it a good. It is good. It's not bad. It's not too long. And it's just alright. So for actual time you're speedrunning, which I mean by that by the time you're actually using a controller and playing, not loading screens or other like text boxes or cutscenes, none of that. All the cutscenes in Crash the Wrath of Cortex are skippable, so that doesn't mean anything, but it is, the time you're not playing is bad. This actual time speedrunning is bad because 30 minutes on PlayStation 2 for 100% just waiting in loading screens, 30 minutes is kind of ridiculous. So this gets a complete bad. It is not good that you're waiting 30 minutes in load screens to complete 106%. So that's why this game doesn't have good actual time speedrunning. Like, some people's times could have been very close if they had similar load times, but load times are just terrible in this game. So the actual time speedrunning category of this whole little chart I have is a bad. So the last category on our list of things that I think are important to know about speedrunning a game, like just general things about the game. It's up to you if you like the game. So I'm just talking, if you like the game, here's what speedrunning is like on this. This is what I'm talking about. So the last category is speedrunning difficulty curve, which means how much more difficult is it to speedrun than casual play. Well, for this, it's pretty average. It's like, you do slightly different things than a normal speedrun, like controlling it. It's just a lot of more button presses. So I just give it a passable. It's not completely much harder. It's not greatly harder. And it's not super duper easy. So I just give it a passable. It's not that much difficult. It's not that much more difficult than if you played it casually. And it's not like one of those games that ramp up the difficulty much more. Like, it's harder to speedrun Crash 2 than it is to speed this game, because with Crash 2, the way you speedrun it, the neutral slide spin, is much more difficult than just rapidly tapping a button. So I just give this a passable. So that wraps up this overview of speedrunning, or review of speedrunning Crash the Wrath of Cortex. Some people don't like it. Some people think there's just a lot of enemies everywhere and nitro spread all over the place. But for the people who like this game and feel like speedrunning it, here was just an overview of the controls and how much time you have to wait in loading screens and cutscenes, and how much more difficult it is than regular speedrunning. So I hope you liked it. So this game, for speedrunning it, gets a 6 out of 10, which is alright. It's not the greatest game to speedrun. There's a lot of loading times, and the controls and speedrunning difficulty is alright. So thanks for watching. It gave a 6 out of 10, which is pretty good. Not the best. So if you like this game and want to speedrun it, I hope this this review was helpful. Thanks for watching. I'm Drew Hales, and goodbye.